What's up, Average Joes? Welcome back to another video. Today, I want to go over my Q1 wrap up. So welcome back. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for watching my videos, commenting, liking, subscribing, doing the good stuff. And today I want to go over my Q1 wrap up. As you can tell, every single video seems to be changing with my backgrounds, my setup, because I'm trying to tweak and do things. And then, of course, I got a big window in here and the sun comes in and it's kind of blaring, but I'm trying to work with what I got. So Q1 wrap up. I don't do monthly wrap ups, monthly TBRs, anything like that. I like to take them in more of quarterly or chunks that way. And for my first quarter wrap up, I don't do a reading goals either. So I just kind of take it how it is. But from a first quarter wrap up, I'm going to talk about here in this video what I read, and I haven't really thought about. Well, maybe in another video I'll talk about what I'm going to read. I'm actually releasing this about a week early, so even as filming this and releasing this, it's going to be a week before the end of the quarter. So I'm going to be like one or two books shy. So the first thing I'll talk about is, well, first is how dumb Goodreads is, and I think a lot of people can agree with that. The main thing is that I went to go on Goodreads to look at my reading for the year, and good thing I keep track of my own notes on what I've read each year. Every year I just keep a list, a manual list on my phone. And I'm currently at 17 books, but Goodreads had me at 21 books. And when I went on there going, why did I at 21 books? There were two duplicate books on there and one book that I hadn't even read yet. And I couldn't remove them. I went to go look to remove them, and I even switched the one book that I hadn't read yet to want to read, and then removed it from the shelf altogether. I still went to my books read. It's still at 21, still had it there. It did not move. And there were two duplicates on there. I don't know how or why they do that, but Goodreads is just, it's pretty much trash. Anyway, besides that, so 17 is the actual number of books that I've read this year so far. And by the end of this quarter, I'll probably be 18 or 19, because after I'm currently about 30% through an audiobook, I'm about 40% through a physical book, a mystery. And then the next book I'm going to pick up on my Kindle will probably be a novella, or I can probably fit into at least two novellas in the next week. Maybe we'll see. The baby's coming this week, so I have no idea what my reading's going to be doing. That's also why I'm doing this early, because by the weekend the baby will be here. So that's happening for one. So what I'm going to read coming up, I guess, is going to be in the next week or so, the novellas. I'm probably going to pick up some of the KJ Parker novellas, because Alan keeps talking all kinds of praise about them. And I own several KJ Parker books. I own several of his novellas. I own like the bind up of a bunch of his, or it's a Kindle version of a bunch of his novellas. So I'm probably going to knock out some of those. I think, what was it? Blue and gold, purple and black, one of those two colors, and then some others. So that's what I'm going to read. But to get into the books that I have read, so 17 books for an average of 428 pages, which I think is about my standard average in general when it comes to books. And I'm actually surprised it's that low, because I read the first two books in the Farseer trilogy, which are huge. And then there were two or three other books there that were 500 pages. I did read, I guess because the mysteries that I read are like in the 300s. And then I also read one novella story, and Nightmareland Chronicles, which is only like 170 books, 170 pages. So that kind of brings it way down. And I was actually pretty evenly spaced for this quarter, which is pretty impressive. Only 5 fantasy, 4 sci-fi, 5 in the mystery and thriller genre, which is a little bit higher than what I normally do. But that's because of the physical books that I have, since I picked up some James Patterson. And then 3 nonfiction. I pretty much am standard at 1 nonfiction a month. And since 3 months have there's 3 months in a quarter, there's 3 nonfiction books. So those are the ones that I did. Really, really good so far. I don't know what my average rating was. I don't do all the ratings, the 4 and 5 star, but I don't even know if a single book was a 3 star this quarter. Like, that's how good my reading was. I'm not like super harsh of a critic. Really, my standards, like kind of my standard rating is 4 stars nowadays. It's like, if I enjoyed something, it's pretty much 4 stars. If I can pick out issues and can rant a little bit about it and talk about some things, I'll probably break it down to 3. If I love it and can't think of any reason to bring it down to 4, then I'll probably be 5. A handful of 5s, a bunch of 4s. I don't think there were any 3 star books Another thing that I started this quarter is a new video series that I want to do called Top 3 from Me. I think only 2 of them have come out so far. And it's a way that I want to talk about. I still want to do list videos, and list videos are the ones that most people like to watch. But like doing top tens and plus, you kind of just mention a book for like 15 seconds, and then when I was doing that, there would be people that I actually know, like friends and family, that would say like, oh, yeah, I heard you mention this book, but like you didn't tell me much of anything about it. Like I don't know what it's about, and to me, some of them can be pretty popular, and to me, it's kind of widely known that what these books are about, but to most people, it's not. So I wanted to trim down the list to be able to speak more expandedly about each of these books that I'm recommending and why. And that's why I only narrowed it down to 3, and just the top 3 for these specific elements, subgenre. One of the ones I did was the environmental reads, ones that you were like really into the environment. So that's why I only lived in that 3. So I definitely want to continue those series, and then my Kindle Unlimited content. Always want to keep up with that. As far as favorite books for this quarter, I don't really know if I have a surefire favorite. I've definitely liked Farseer more than I anticipated, and I think it's because there's been a lot of hype with Farseer, and everybody just keeps on saying how much they love it. And I don't always do the best with hype, and then like the length of it and some other things that I wasn't sure how I would feel about it, but I think that's good because it's actually been a lot better than I thought. There were some times where it got slow, and in the second book, the romance has just been kind of drag on some a little too much for me. But I'm sure things will get more fleshed out later on. The next book I'm keep putting off because it is the longest in the series, and I want to keep up with other things. My read along, Priest of Bones, the start of the War for the Rose Bones series. Love the book one. I really did. We chatted with a few people on the Discord, on Alan's Discord and his channel about it. My brother-in-law joined. He liked it. I think he was unsure about it for a while, but then in the end, it kind of ramped up, and then kind of it's starting to grow. To me, what's great about it, and I'll have a video coming out of that soon, a review and talk a video about Priest of Bones, is you have all these fantasies that are just large scale. It's all doom and gloom, end of the world, prophecies, and chosen ones, and like it's almost sometimes the sheer epic scale of stuff is a bit too much and like gets old. Priest of Bones is just this city. It's just this little small area, and it's all concentrated there. And I can see that it's going to get bigger, but I like the small, intimate scale of it to learn about the people, to learn about the climate, to learn about the area and what's going on, to then slowly progress and not be like, yeah, the world is going to end. Who's going to save the world? And then that's kind of how it is. This is like, hey, I just want to get my businesses back and pick up where I left off when I went off to war. That's kind of how Priest of Bones is, and I love it. So many things that are really, really good. A couple of things that were questioning, especially toward the end. There were 2 main things, and I might mention those in like a spoiler talk toward the end of my video. We'll see. But that's going really well. Winter World, the trilogy by A.G. Riddle. I just finished the second one, or about to finish. I'm like 2 chapters away from finishing the book, so basically finished. And that one, it actually surprised me a lot because I read the first 2 books in the Atlantis Gene trilogy, and I haven't had a desire to pick up the third one. The second one just kind of got a little crazy and convoluted, and I couldn't really follow some, but that's because it was on audiobook. But this one is really, really good. Basically, a nuclear winter, global apocalypse is happening, and there's a lot of technology, a lot of science speak. There's first contact, extraterrestrial type stuff, a lot of space stuff, and yeah, can't really say too much about the second one without spoiling the first. But I really, really enjoyed it because, for one, short chapters. Short chapters are the best. One of the things I hate about it's just a small pet peeve. It's whatever, but like Farseer, you go onto those chapters. I look on my Kindle, and it's like, oh, 45 minutes is like the average amount of time for a chapter. And I'm somebody who absolutely hates and can't stop in the middle of a chapter. I have to finish it. So if I plan on going to bed in 15, 20 minutes, but the next chapter is 45 to 50 minutes, I'm like, well, what's the point of starting? Because I don't want to stop in the middle of a chapter, and I'm not going to keep reading past that time. So I don't even pick it up. This one, it's like anywhere from 2 to 9 minutes, 2 to 12 minutes is like the chapter length. It is just so quick, fast, boom, boom, boom. And then there's always something going on. So it's so easy to be like one more chapter, one more chapter, one more chapter. And that's what I love. So and there's always some sort of drama, some sort of anticipation happening. So that's why it's also really good. The content wise is decent. It is still good, but I think I just like it because it's high energy and it always keeps me going. Knock Knock. I said I read a bunch of mysteries and thrillers. I'm about to finish my sixth. Knock Knock is probably the best one that I've read so far. It is once again another Scandinavian origin. This one takes place in Sweden mostly, and it is fantastic. They're a little bit darker, but the Scandinavian written ones, they're a little bit longer too. I think it's so that they can really flesh out the characters, and then the hook too. The hooks don't feel cheap or cheesy or like you couldn't see that coming, or that they were misleading you some way, or like it just came out of left field. So something, anything like that. These really felt well drawn out, and I recommend. You can find more in the Scandinavian realm. Knock Knock is one of them. The Chestnut Man is the other one. Both of these I would highly recommend. Really did not see the hook, the twist coming in Knock Knock. Neither my wife or I did not get that. And as far as nonfiction goes, there's a few that we read that were pretty decent. One of them called Ingredients was really, really cool. Talks about like nutrition on like the like from a chemist standpoint, nutrition and like sunblock and things like that they put on in our body. Pretty interesting. And then the other one that other people might be interested in, especially if you like to run or anything, was the story about the guys who broke the 4-minute mile barrier. So ran 1 mile under 4 minutes in the 50s. And it was really cool. It's fairly long, but it reads just like a story. It's like their background, how they approach training, the drama with them competing against each other to get the 4-minute barrier first, and just things going on in that time and day. So that one was really entertaining. So those are probably my best top books and little summary of my reading for the first quarter. If you're curious about my like read to audiobook splits, I'm actually at 10 read to 7 audiobooks. A bit high on the audiobooks this time around, and that's partially because I've been doing a bit more running along now, but also we did a road trip from Texas to Monterey, and my wife and I listened to Small Favors, which was the next Dresden book that we were on. I think it was book 9 or 10. I listened to 2 Dresden books this year, and I mean, those go by quick. So for the most part, you just want to keep listening to them, and we listened to one of them for the drive over. So knock that one out. A couple of these are also fairly short. Ingredients was fairly short, and I finished Leviathan Falls. I think I was only halfway through it when the year struck over, so I just counted it for this year. But there was another book that I didn't count. So a little bit more audiobook reading than I normally do. Maybe it's a trend for this year. Maybe that's going to happen, especially with the baby. I might not feel like holding a book or actually looking at reading. I might need, if my hands are doing stuff, then I'll probably put my earbuds in. But since I had that huge audiobook sale, they had that huge audiobook sale that I hold a whole bunch of books, then I mean, I'm pretty much set up for it. So I'm doing good so far. I still don't have my physical library yet. We moved from Bahrain 3 months. They picked up our stuff like 3.5 months ago. It's still inbound, still probably won't be here for another couple of weeks. When I do, I plan on doing a video to fill out the shelf and clean all that stuff up. But at least I have some books here filling in. But that's my quarter one wrap up. Pretty good. I mean, all the books that I've read so far have been really, really good. Like I said, I don't think I've read 1 3-star book, which is a pretty dang good start to the year. There was one mystery thriller, A Good Marriage, that I thought was going to get there because everybody, for some reason in thrillers, they just make everybody a terrible person. But this one actually panned out to be pretty good in the end. But how's your quarter one reading going? Best books that you've read, whether you have goals, let me know how your quarter one reading is going, and if it's going to make you change anything going forward. I'll probably do a quarter 2 want to reads video in a couple of weeks for my future plans. But that's all I have for today. Thanks for watching, and leave me a comment down below and we can chat more there.